difference between foreclosure and kicking the people out and eviction and getting them out. What is the difference? Well, when you go to the bank to get financing to buy the property I'm selling, let's say I'm selling you the property, and instead of having me do a seller carry back, you just go to the bank and you tell the bank, I want to buy the property from Sharif Medawar. The bank tells you how much down payment you're going to put, and let's say you're going to put 10, 20% down payment. The bank says, okay, so it's a 60,000 property. You're going to put 20% down, which is 12,000. We're going to finance 48,000 for you. Great. If they actually give you the deed, you see, they give you the deed at that time. It's not a contract for deed. They give it to you, and they record the promissory note to be secured. They record it in the county recorder's office, and it's secured against the property. In other words, if you default, they foreclose on you, they move you out of the property, and they get the deed to the property. It becomes bank-owned property. You see? So when I sell a property to somebody, I don't want to give them the deed. I tell them this is going to be installment sale. You will only get the deed when you pay me off. You can pay me off over the length of the 30 years. You can pay me off in a few years if you get some money somehow. You can pay me off by refinancing, and that's when the deed transfers hands and you take the actual full ownership of the property. But so far, you're actually getting ownership every month a little bit more through the payments you're making, the PITI payments you're making, principal, interest, tax, insurance. And if you default, I'll not foreclose on you because you don't have the deed. I'll just evict you just like a renter. So a buyer could get into a house through installment purchase, or it's called also installment sale, which is the contract for deed, the seller carry back. They make payments and they gain ownership through those payments every year and every month, if you will. And if they default, they get evicted. They don't get foreclosed on. Are there cases where you sell a property to somebody and carry the note and they're making payments on a contract for deed, and then they default and you come to evict them and the court says, oh no, you need to foreclose on them? Yes, there are some rare occasions it could happen. If they have been there for 2-3 years, then they defaulted. They say, okay, well, you know what? This person is really trying to own the property. They're making the installment payments to you. Foreclose. What does that mean? Well, the eviction is usually about 30 days to 45 days max around the country. Maybe some states are a bit more lenient. Maybe some have backlogs, but it usually will take 30 to 45 days. And I'll tell you, usually the eviction is used for renters, contract for deeds, etc. Foreclosure takes usually 3 months to 6 months, depends on where you are in the country. In trust deed states, which is usually on the West Coast, like California, Nevada, Washington State, etc., the foreclosure takes 3 to 4 months. On the East Coast, which is where you have what's called mortgage states, it's all legal foreclosure. It takes 3 to 6 months. It could be a bit delayed in places like New York or Illinois, a little bit delayed. That's why I always suggest, if you run into a situation or a problem with the person that was trying to buy the property from you and is unable to make the payment, to actually work a deal with them, to tell them, look, you know, I'll foreclose on you or I'll evict you. You are in breach of contract. Even to renters, you could do that. Tell them, how can I make it easy for you and for me? Let's come to some terms here. Can I pay you to leave? I'll just give you back your original down payment or your deposit, or I'll give you 2 weeks to leave and I'll not go after you, or I will just refund you $1,000 and move on with life. And guess what? People that are in distress, usually will want the easy way out. If they want to fight you, yes, this is what you will do. The terms are called foreclosure or eviction. The beauty about seller carry back and you carrying the note as a seller is you have the power to evict. The law is on your side. You're like a bank. And if you know anything about the United States of America, about Canada, Australia, the power is for the lender. The borrower is at the mercy of the lender. And so you can evict them, you can foreclose on them, and these are the terms and these are the definitions.